Hey, what's happening, guys? Want to jump into the market today? I want to do something different. I usually go straight in and I want to look at the moons that happened naturally. Always gauging the anatomy of a moon. It's the most important thing in crypto, right? Yes, it is. But today what I want to do is I'm going to look at a couple things that have mooned. I know some of you guys are newer at this, and we just want to look at risk factors and profiles of charts real quick and talk about what happens after the moon when things start going down or look like they might pump again. So let's just check out a few that were doing really good last week as we go down. Like, for example, we got IOTA, which today is only up 1%. We're at 426 today. Just get this over a little bit. Okay. We got IOTA has just demolished any idea of itself that we had. For the longest time, we were looking at IOTA in this little time frame here. It just lingered forever. People were giving up on IOTA. Bag holders dumping. This went on for months. And then we had the little pop, and we met the all-time high here. And kaboom. IOTA's new chart. The old chart's history, it's tiny in comparison. So now we have a flag starting to form up here. And these flags are dangerous times. They can be dangerous and they can be very profitable moments. When I look at this chart, though, I see how high it's gone. Obviously, it's very obvious. And you have to start understanding that it's going to be a window like this. It's not going to do another super rocket, most likely, because it just recently went up 3x, 4x. 5x in half a month. So we're now at the flag. They call it penants or flags. That means we've got lowering highs, which on one hand is a sign that the price is going to go down. But at the same time, we've got rising lows. You see how the lowest lows here? So we've got rising lows. So we have lowering highs meeting rising lows. And that means the bulls and the bears are fighting. They're fighting this out. The bears are undermining any kind of attempt to dominate the price here and pop it up. Every time it gets high, bears are pulling the rug out from underneath of it. They're selling big and they're dropping the price. And yet at the same time, every time we get down here and it's threatening to make new lows, the bulls are saying, this is doing great. It's safe. Let's buy. So they're undermining any attempt for the lows to run. Well, we're at a window of time right here where if it's me looking at it, what I'm seeing is that here, let's look at the whole market again, just like scan right through just with the eyeball. See all this, we've got all this green going on here. So much green. Huge gains, little gainers. But what we have is IOTA with it's barely gaining. It's literally on the hinge of gain and loss right now. So to me, brave people would buy right now, but to me, I always go slightly conservative at this point in time, and I don't buy here. I assume that it's going to poke through and make a new low at this point because we have 3 failed highs. I always want to see and like to see rising highs. So if you see here this little hump here, that was a new low. That tells me there's already, even though we had this little spurt here, we're starting to see hope kind of give out just a little bit on making new highs. People that put in huge money, they want to see as big a gains as possible. They want to see them as fast as possible. So when we start seeing things like here, we just missed a new high, and we already fell down here, and we missed the next new low. This is where the hope gives out. And to me, I get out if I've been holding on at this point, and I don't invest. I don't try to catch the bottom here. Who knows? We could look tomorrow and somebody could like IOTA so much with so much money, show it some love, and boom, it could be up. I don't know, but I don't gamble on these because statistically at this point, years of chart reading experience that I have, this is a weak point. It means if you see 100 charts at this point, not very many of them pop up at this point. Again, no guarantees, but that's what I see. I just wanted to talk about that because IOTA is just a great example of, it just has a systematic preference. People are into it because it's very different and because it's perceived as a powerful concept in crypto. Good relationships, monstrous gain. This is a good one to watch. If I was you, and you're newer, I would go ahead and watch how this plays out, and think about how this would feel. You basically are looking at this window from here to here and here to here. How do you feel if it goes up here, and how do you feel if it goes down here? If you go down here, you show weakness. You can bet it might do a little catch and it'll shoot down and it'll try to find a new support level. It might be here, but that's almost random. It's unknown. But what I see is not my preference. I'm like a lot of I guess you could say opportunity-seeking investors, where you want an opportunity for something to go up, and here the risk is too high. So conservative bulls bow out, and that's why the price doesn't catch the bottom. The bears win. The bears forced the sell-off up here. They made some money. Maybe they bought here. Maybe they bought here. They made the money. Bulls refuse to catch it and goes boom. And it really just takes a very small window of panic selling at this point. And the other thing is a small window of panic selling here will start triggering a barrage of stop losses. And I don't know if there's a lot of shorting going on right now for something like IOTA, but in the stock market, short sellers start doing anything they can to try to coerce the price to squeeze downward further and further. So something to keep an eye on. Let's check another one. Let's look at Salt. Talk about Salt. Salt's the lending platform. And look at this. I'm a little surprised to see it's an identical structure that we were just looking at with IOTA. And with Salt, what we see, let's make it more level there. See the pennant forming again there. It's showing weakness, showing strength on the lows. We're at the lows. Compared to Bitcoin, see it's Bitcoin's starting to lean. Bitcoin's this yellow line here. It's starting to lean. And, it's kind of matching it a little bit. It's doing its own thing, but you see how these have grown with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's faltering, and it's affecting these indirectly. Well, so it's got a lot of it's a little extra discussion. You see it online, the groups and whatnot. What's the future of Salt? We're not sure. Salt's the lending platform, only we have no liability factor for the lenders who accept Salt and don't pay back their loans. So conceptually, I think we're kind of button here. Conservative people are saying the concept is flawed at this point in time, and the other people, a lot of the kind of fat investors, which naturally if you're investing in crypto, you're a large percent of fat investing, but BitConnect was successful. People who doubt BitConnect also see a lot of people who support it. It's a lending thing. They see Salt, it's lending. Everybody's liking the lending thing. It involves money, and crypto investors like money. And so Salt's had a nice run. And it might become a great big thing. But right now, let's look a little closer on the chart instead of seeing that sharp little flag pennant forming. It looks more positive here, but here's this little tail I don't like to see. This tail is breaking, like the lows traveled in this arc, and it broke through. It's breaking through a little bit. and we have a little bit of a loss day on what we already saw was a very super green market. You know, the guys holding salt are going, why didn't salt go up today? You know, maybe I did as good as I could do in salt. They bought here, they bought here, they bought here, and they're going, why aren't I in something that will make more money right now? So there's a risk. Back to the same thing I said with IOTA, there's a risk. The bulls refuse to catch it here. They've maybe sold, and it could run a little bit downward. And there's a lot of vague support. This line here I like to call the support here. It's not traditional, but we've got a lot of support here, peak there, and we catch the bottom there. There's a lot of support around there. So if it runs, its chances are, if it runs down, it's going to at least run to there. But it can have a different future. Ones like this, what can happen is the market is all pumped. It left like 10 good ones behind, and then the next day, the whales dump the big ones, or regular investors say, I want to cash in on my other one that did so good. And then today they're like, salt got ignored, we're getting in, salt's at a great price. Boom, it could go up. So it can go up. But that's not what I like to invest. There's a lot of different points that I like in investing. And for me, this looks attractive when it's up here in this range, when it looks like it's going to challenge this high again. And some people like to buy on the sale day, so they buy it here and hope to make money in that run. But I want to see not just support, I want to see support and strength. That's because I'm being conservative about things, and also it saves time sometimes. If I buy here, it could take days. It could take a week to recover. Because especially if it goes down any more, then we're looking at an uncertain future. But if we saw support and strength, it increases your chance. Then you have like a 50% chance of it beating this. But if it goes down and you buy on sale day here, and then it takes 2-3 weeks to come around, that's a lot of wasted time. So that's why I'm always looking for a good trade window. It's not just about finding the good crypto or the good stock or the good investment. It's about trying to find the good window of time. You find a bunch of good windows of time, then, you know, it's obvious. You get to catch more good trades, get out of good wins, and then find the next one. And theoretically, instead of having your investment line, your investment line going like this, well, if you can unnotch some of those kinks, your gains are just phenomenally higher. And there's a lot of risk in that. I trade semi-frequently, which means I'm not like a day trader where I'm just flipping things in and out. But I don't tattoo, salt on my arm and plan to carry it for 2 years just because I liked it and I'm loyal to it. I'm looking for same things 90% of investors are looking for, and most of the people developing salt themselves are looking for. They're looking for an increase in value. We're not looking at these charts because we want to get married to them. Even the owners of the investment aren't sitting there going, if it moves against me 100%, oh well, so swell. Even they're selling some of theirs. So, let's see. Einsteinium. That one did just a massive rise last week. It still looks insane. I mean, this isn't even a chart. This is a right angle. I still haven't looked into that news. I haven't looked into updates on the news, but as we can see, without me even looking it up, I can say that rumor of Einsteinium was pure rumor, probably. There's the photo of the guy with the Apple laptop, and I think those guys went and visited Apple, or something like that, and just boom! Einsteinium shot up like a rocket, and probably one of the most phenomenal trades anyone could have made this year, aside from, well, actually not. There's been so many good runs, but if you started here at 14 cents and you got yourself up to anywhere near 271, I mean, what was that? You almost did 20 times the value based on what, a picture of some guy with a Macintosh computer. I mean, think about that. That's there's maybe not be a better example of how volatile and interesting and yet risky crypto is. So we see Einsteinium peaked at 268, and it just dumped its brains out for, was that 2 days? Two days. It went from 262 down to almost 160. And it got challenged. See, the volume just keeps getting lower and lower with the challenge. The bulls caught it. The bears shrugged it off. And everybody's just saying, rumor, it was just a rumor, it was a rumor, where's the news, where's the real news? We get all the way down here. The bounces are happening. People are still saying Einsteinium's hot. Nobody ever saw a run like that. We want more of that action. But really, this turns into a little day trader mosh pit. You see charts that are doing this, and they're going up 40%, down 40%, down 70%, up 50%. If you're new to this game, be careful about this. It's so easy. Somebody was asking today, what's the number one tip you can give somebody who's new at this? And to me, there is only one number one tip. One number one tip is when you're new, you don't know to assume this, that at any point something can turn majorly against whichever way you think this is going. So you don't know. If you're brand new, you jump in, it's just like throwing a dart with a blindfold on. Is this too high? Like, what if you're brand new, you got in here and you rode that ride and you're stoked and you don't know to sell yet? Boom, you could lose it all. And then you hang on to it here, and then it moves against you and you panic sell, which might be okay at that point. Actually, it'd be smart, but you might not know to panic sell at this point. See these failing highs? Right here. This is that point I'm talking about. The high, lower high, lower high, lower high, boom. See how scary that is? This is that point I'm talking about on IOTA and the salt. Is once it goes here, it's at risk of, I'm going to zoom in a little more. Failing highs right here. Right here, everyone that knows what they're doing should be worried, and the real good ones, they're automatically going out. Like, get me out of here. The highs are failing. The lows are starting to be lower. It's over, and then bam. And this one had an incredible bounce back up, which you would have got saved. But imagine if that didn't happen, which on a lot of them they don't. And instead you end up in this. Bleh. Who wants to be in this? And then, blah. Oh, that's the worst. When you waited it out and you're patient, and then you see this little blah blah. Like, it's depressing, you know? I just saw that happen with Raiden, and I couldn't believe it. I went against my own steadfast rule with Raiden because it was purposeful and hot. And they had good news, and they had an early release. I gave it a chance, and still we just saw that because it's just an early release. And here's Einsteinium. You know, it's been around. It's been around forever. And then we see a picture of an Apple laptop. And something that said big news coming, and everybody just goes crazy. And there might be big news, but the marketing team didn't put a platform under there to keep this from happening. Otherwise, you'd be up here in this still, and you might see that pennant forming, and then we have a decision to make. Well, instead, this is a sagging pennant. That's not even a pennant at all. You know, if there was a pennant, it was here and it failed. And so now we see this. So that's a strong chart with the formation of weakness. And who knows, at this point here, man, it could be down here. It might get caught, but for me, I need to see and know news is coming to catch this. If there's no news, then I look at this and I say there's nothing to catch this. See here the volume. We're trading 40 million a day. The only thing that's going to catch that is if 40 million bucks trades at a slight loss to pump the price up. You know, what's gonna convince $40 million of investment to do that? But good news. So Einsteinium needs news to throw that up. Okay. While I'm here, I made enough comments about this in the, here and there in the groups and on my Facebook page. So let's look at it real quick. I won't linger on it because I like to talk about this one. Aeon. I called it like somewhere around here. And I don't know, was it here? Well, Aeon had news. It kept coming out. It seemed like every week since I've owned Aeon, some new piece of news was coming out. And all the while, every passing day, Aeon wasn't even in the top 100. And, a week and a half ago, it zoomed up to 96, and then the next day it was 92. And where are we now? Aeon jumped up to 64. In a few days, I called Aeon 3 weeks ago. Aeon and Sonam I called at the same time. Well, Aeon has performed insanely well and has gone from not even in the hundreds all the way up to 64. There's news every step of the way. No negative talk. Supporters are talking positively about it, myself included, but there's others. It's been kind of a sleeper. Aeon's available only on Ether Delta. Yes, I said that. Funny. Ether Delta. And one other one that no one uses. So people are scared to use Ether Delta. It's a little tricky. I'll put the guide in the links again, or actually it's in one of my other videos. Ether Delta is a little tricky, so people have actually been slow to pump Aeon. This pump, if they were on a different exchange, would have been like blah, blah, blah. Instead it was just this nice slow plateauy growth, and then today, yesterday, it just was the 11th to the 12th, we gained like so much in a day. I'm up 100. I was up 170% in Aeon. It's down a little bit down now. I'm at that point here where it's like sell, don't be dumb, sell. And it's doing its little mark. By all good logic, sell here, sell here. I'm still in the Aeon Sonam combo. See, Aeon has formed a usage partnership with Sonam. They're going to use Sonam's supercomputer. So I'm in both of those together. I'm debating about the long haul on this one, or a short long haul. Aeon's only at $170 million market cap. I'm sitting here wondering, is Aeon going to be a $500 million company? They're forming a lot of partnerships. The concept of Aeon is super strong, multi-tiered blockchain, the ability to reference blockchains among each other. Is Aeon going to be one of those, super cushy valued cryptos, like Litecoin now or Bitcoin, where it's just like, why not? Why not put Aeon at $1 billion? It could be. AON only needs news to be released on that they're going to be on a Binance or something, and they've got enough market cap. I think what's Binance, you pay like what, $100,000 and you're listed on Binance. I don't remember the specifics, but they should drop themselves on Binance. Maybe they just are enjoying this ride. They're definitely working on themselves, their project, more than they're working on trying to, let's just hit the parade with the exchanges and see how high we can get this done and not even care about the outcome. It's been a nice, steady build with AON, and you see AON's chart just been, ever since October, just chugging. Support, rising lows, challenged highs or answered back. It had a couple moments. But if you look back at these charts, you could have bought here and gotten eaten alive. And people that did that probably are sitting there like, I hate AON. And then up here, you could have bought up here and you could have just got chewed slowly up to pieces. I hate AON. 7 days later, and by here you're like, I want to get into a different crypto right now. And I wouldn't blame you. If you get in on the wrong side of these things, sometimes you're like, let's just go hunting for a better opportunity. But AON just kept going and going. I got in here. I think I bought in right here as it was starting to challenge this. And I was just like, yep, we're going on the ride with AON. Pa. So, at this point, what do? You hang on or you sell? If you're up 175, do you sell or do you hang on? All logic says sell. I might sell. I was just kind of hovering over the sell button. I might sell. The volume in the buy wall is crazy. While we're here, I'm going to jump to the buy wall. I'm going to pause and be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I popped up Ether Delta. Yeah, I got to jump to Chrome to do Ether Delta because Chrome handles it better. Looking at AON, you've got the price charts. Yeah, it's still going back up. See, I was looking at this a minute ago, and instead of 67 here, we were at 63. It's already going back up. The depth chart. This is what. See that massive wall of green? People are waiting to buy AON. Unfortunately, the buy wall is still pretty far back. Got a long stretch of interested people though. The sell wall. A lot more people are just saying, I'm going to hang on to AON. And if you're going to buy AON, you're going to come stretch across this huge gap here, and you're going to buy AON at a premium. So come get it if you want it. And we see over here the buy orders, sell orders. When I was looking at it a while ago, it was a lot of red. Now we're seeing a lot of green. This is Ether Delta and the volume's not that high, but it's starting to climb again. And on our chart here, playing the game. It's kind of stuck right below 0.007, and that's Ether, because it's Ether Delta uses Ethereum. It's a little bit of a challenge to use Ether at first. And the reason why, let's see, can I move that? Yeah, I can. Is this little thing going on right here. It's confusing. And you got to read the guide to do that. I was going to make an Ether Delta video. There's a lot of them out there. Even the videos are confusing. But the guide, I'll go ahead and stick it in the links and put it there. If you're new, just see this little scrap here. Just do this. Make sure you can make a transaction complete all the way through. And then, if you can, only then use a real amount of money. And then You know, if you put it away, you make a sale and put it away, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, you're back on Ether Delta again. Go ahead and read that guide again. Otherwise, you're going to mess something up. But that's Aeon. I thought I'd show you the Ether Delta. People don't use Ether Delta. I mean, I was saying for weeks, Aeon's good. Aeon's good. Here's Aeon news. Buy Aeon. And there's only like a select chunk of us that we keep talking about Aeon, how good it's going, because I know a lot of people were like, they popped on Ether Delta and was like, that thing is clunky or something. It's confusing. I don't know exactly. It's different than other exchanges, and it is. And I sat there and was like, I'm going to learn it. Anyways, if you're brand new, maybe wave it off, but I'm going to jump out of this so that we can talk about other things. Let's talk about one more. Pick on Neo from time to time. Let's talk about Neo because I think that Neo is a prime example of a newbie trap. Neo's starting to pick up. I mean, look at Neo. It's just full of flags. The whole thing is a bear pennant masterpiece. The trades are volatile. You know, if you buy high for even a second, you're going to get annihilated 2 days later. You know, if you buy high again, here thinking you have support, boom, you just got like thrown overboard. You know, you're in a little sailboat that gets splashed in the ocean with the great white sharks. And that's, you know, if you have long game with Neo, man, I guess here would have looked okay finally, but the China ban sent Neo spiraling down. And who knows, Neo might finally get its due. It looks like it is. It's starting to catch a lot of rising lows. But at the same time, it's being challenged by lowering highs. This is a deciding moment here, and it could stretch longer. You know, at which point, if Neo crosses down here, it's a risk. But there's still so many Neo fans, and probably even more over in Asia than here in the United States. And there's a lot of Neo fans here in the United States. I see Neo on conservative pickers portfolios, even though I don't consider it conservative. I almost think you got to be crazy to buy Neo because of how volatile it is. But it feels conservative because it's just got this huge market cap. $2.5 billion. Circulating supply, 65 million, and there's only 100 million total. And it's a platform, you know, people build on Neo. Criticisms are that a lot of the things being built on Neo being a good platform, the things built on it are not exactly superstars yet, and that might change. If you're new and you see charts like this, just be super careful because it's so disappointing. Anytime you look at this chart, this whole span of time, bad for you. Oh man, I zoomed in. This whole chunk of time, bad for you. This whole chunk of time, bad for you. This whole chunk of time, bad for you. Anybody that's wanting to not be a day trader, you look at it and 70% of the chart is bad for you. The only times that are good for you is this little tiny window here, you know, this little tiny window here, this little tiny window here. And only if you buy at these super lows were any of these times survivable. You know, making this specific video for you guys that are new at this. And I'm starting to see more patterns of, I know some of you guys are getting in and you're getting what's, you know, a hype. People are like, at this point, they're like, Neo's awesome, it just made me a ton of money. And they've already made a ton of money. So then you buy in and then bam, you get your butt kicked. You know, and then you go onto a different chart. Say this isn't Neo, it's some other chart. And somebody that bought here is like, it gets up here and they're like, oh, this one's so awesome. It's the best one in the world. And then you go by and then blah, you're miserable for weeks. And you go, why aren't I making money? Well, that same person that bought here and is talking about it might have sold. They might not have. But, half of them have sold here. They're pumped about it. By the time it gets here, they go, oh no, I need to get out. So they've told you here that how great Neo is, you've bought. And by here, well, they're old school traders. By here, they're going, I'm out. They took a little loss off their giant stack of winnings, and you're riding it out. You bought here, and you're riding it out. It's a miserable place to be in. I find myself in that spot occasionally. I'd say 1 out of 15 trades. I end up in this like slow decline, and I'm just going, man, I hate this. Well, you only have to get in that spot enough times to be like, not only do I hate this, but I don't want to experience this anymore. I'm plucking my money, and I'm getting into something that has news. Like maybe Neo had news right here. I'm getting into something that has news, and pop, then you're back on the winning side. So that's how I'm making my calls. There's a lot more to it. We're just looking at this is just a basic line chart. I'm not even getting into the candlesticks. I've dealt with charts so long, I can see 1 trillion things going on in charts without even putting it into words. I just wanted to share a little bit of that because all of this I'm talking about here qualifies as that tip. That person asked today in the group, if you're new, what's the number one tip that will keep you from, they'll keep you solid as a new trader? And I believe that this video covers the number one tip. How to evade the downside of the charts, how to avoid the spurts into the newest level of lows. These are the plateaus you don't want to find. You don't want to be here and find the new low. You want to find new plateaus going in the right direction. That's the way I try to make my calls. Sometimes you do your best, you get excited, catch a ride here, and you're like, I believe in it so much that I'm going to ride it out. And then you go, blam, you're like, oh, you'll lose 15% of what you just gained, and that's stupid. You're going to do that as a trader, and you're going to do that in crypto sometimes. That's because of these amazing gains. If you're in the stock market, you would never see a gain like this. You would never go 20x like Einstein did. You'd never go 3x. There might be one stock out of all the stocks in a week that does like 3x. And it's some fluke, some freak of nature. In crypto, you have real opportunities, unbelievable highs, but you have tremendous downside if you get on the wrong side of these trades. And you have a tremendous amount of battery that's going to happen of getting your butt kicked in these chops if you don't know how to avoid high volatility situations, and if you play them opposite. Buy here, panic, sell here, wait here, oh, it's good again, buy here, and you could just get your butt kicked down the entire chart. A winning chart. Anyway, if you can absorb all of that, and you're newish, sort of new, well, that's at least the first 3 or 4 months of learning right there. Just be careful. Look for news. If you're looking at a tip on a group or something, pay attention to that date. You want to make sure that the movement didn't already happen, and then you jumped in. Where even the guy who gave the tip, if he knew you were jumping in there, he'd be like, no. That tip is old. Like, that's the worst time in the world to get in. So be careful of that. They call that the FOMO, fear of missing out. Even good traders do it. And in crypto, it happens more frequently because people, like, for example, buy here, they're up here, and then, even an experienced trader goes, I think this crypto can move. So they jump in here and they ride it. Well, when you start guessing these points, the risk grows higher. So just be careful. Pay attention to the timing of the news. Make sure it's fresh for you. And if you see one and you're like, this is the only tip I see today, I want to trade something, I got that urge, I got to buy something, and the tip's a little old, or the movements already happened, consider instead, well, what happens if a new suggestion pops in the next hour or two or tomorrow and it's fresh, and instead of catching something up here and being at small upside for a large downside risk, well, what if you catch a fresh tip and it's right here and you get to ride the racket? That's what you want. So anyway, that's it. It's my number one set of tips to newbies. Not to call you newbie, but we're all newbies at some point. Anyways, all crammed into, well, it's one tip crammed into 8 million mini tips. So I hope this helps you guys. I'll talk more charts later. I'm not obsessed about the charts anymore because I went through a long period of time obsessed with charts. That's why I can just, boom, read them. I could talk about them all day. Anyways, best of luck to you guys. I'm going to call this a sort of beginner FOMO chart reading video, and I'll pop the link to Ether Delta down low. If you're brand new to crypto, maybe don't bother with Ether Delta. It'll give you a headache. But if you're technical minded, even a little bit, you'll be able to hack through it with the Ether Delta guide. But anyways, good luck. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye bye. Peace.